This is JR, the Big Orange Tux guy, host of Superfan Diaries here on Pantheon Sports, and I am pumped about the upcoming Super Bowl rematch, aren't you? And you know what makes the big game even better? Playing along with Prize Picks, the best place for real money daily fantasy action. Check this out. Prize Picks is giving away a free square for the big game. That's right, Patrick Mahomes only needs one passing yard and you win. It's simple. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections and get a shot at winning up to 1,000 times your cash. I'm locking in my lineup with Saquon Barkley for more than 113.5 rushing yards and Travis Kelce for more than 62.5 receiving yards. What's your game plan? And the best part, Prize Picks puts you first. Fast, safe withdrawals. I cashed out in just 15 minutes last week. Don't sit this one out. Sign up now and use code Pantheon, Pantheon, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, just play $5 and boom, you get $50. Download the Prize Picks app today and use Pantheon to cash in before the big game. That's code Pantheon for an instant $50 bonus. Make the big game even bigger with Prize Picks. Pick your players, lock in your lineup, and run your game. Sign up now because a Super Bowl rematch deserves Super Bowl level action.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Coco from Winona Fighter. Our debut LP, My Apologies to the Chef, is out now, and we're about to dive into the album on my weekly mixtape.
Welcome to My Weekly Mixtape, a podcast that takes the classic mixtape approach to building a modern playlist. I'm your host, Brian Colburn. Joining me tonight again is Coco Kinnon of Nashville-based punk trio Winona Fighter. Coco, welcome back to the program.
It is great to be back.
Glad to have you. And since we last talked on episode 71, which was the ultimate 90s punk rock playlist, Winona Fighter has truly been taking off, hitting up major festivals and some successful tours, including opening for Bayside and Finch, as well as putting the finishing touches on your debut studio album, which is going to be the focus of our discussion tonight. So even though it's been less than a year since we last talked, it feels like it's been an eternity in terms of what's been happening with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying to Austin the other day, someone brought something up at Thanksgiving that happened in February, and we were like, that was just less than a year ago. Like, it's been the busiest year and time has flown this year, but it feels like it's been within the span of like 5 years.
Now, when we talked about this on episode 71, and if you haven't heard it first, you really need to remedy that. But for those who haven't heard it yet, on stage, you sing and play rhythm guitar for the band, but in the studio, you're the band's drummer. So can you talk about that dynamic and how it plays out during the recording versus live phase of the band?
Yeah, so the drums are the first thing we'll record in the studio, and I'll actually go in and record them first. And it really, I think, just sets like the groundwork for the rest of the songs to be built. But we do it in a way where like, I'm not going to go play a drum part that our drummer is sweating every night, like trying to do. You know, we want to make it as just kind of like straightforward, clean, and hard hitting as possible. We're not trying to go Travis Barker. We're trying to go Ringo Starr. Just very lay it down and play hard. So that's the approach I take in the studio. And I think it really comes through not only on the record, but also when we play live. It's like, okay, these are live drums.
Well, and this comes with zero disrespect to your live drummer because he's friggin' awesome. But have you ever entertained the thought of it, maybe even for one song, sitting down at the kit and singing simultaneously, giving us the band type a Levon Helm situation for punk rock?
My very first punk band, I would do that. It was a 2-singer band, so the bass player sang and I sang, but I was the drummer as well. Will I ever do that for a Winona Fighter song? Maybe not, because it takes a lot of energy to not only sing a Winona Fighter song, but play drums to it. But we do, at Riot Fest, I got behind the drums for a solo at the end of a song. So that was fun, and I think a lot of people were like, I could say all day long I play drums on the album, but then I'll play drums at a show, and people will be like, I didn't know you were a drummer.
Well, let's get into the album. So let's start top level here and then work our way down. The title of the album, My Apologies to the Chef. What's the story?
It's just a little something I would say in the studio. I'm especially playing drums. I would because there are some tricky parts on the record. And if I would screw up multiple times in a row, I'd start to get a little agitated. I think it's anyone who's very serious about their craft does. I don't think there's a very graceful, someone who really cares about what they do and they keep messing up. I don't think there's any person who's really graceful about that. Right. And so Austin was always you just got to take a breather. And so then I started just saying I would mess up and I would start to kind of get agitated. And then I'd say, my apologies to the chef, make a little joke out of it and then keep going. And then it just kind of the boys started doing it. And then we would start doing it in our everyday life. We would start saying it. And we were that has to be the album title because, we say it whenever we mess something up. And I think the record in general is about life and messing it up sometimes. And so it just felt very fitting.
And then the album cover itself, is that a depiction of you as a child holding up the sign that says My Apologies to the Chef?
My interpretation of the title and the album cover is kind of being a kid and from a young age being I want to be in a punk rock band. And, my apologies to the chef, my parents being the chef, or even maybe I'm the chef. I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of a take on that. Being young and wanting to just do this completely outrageous thing and there not ever being a plan B.
Well, the album drops on Valentine's Day. Any significance with that?
I think it's just fun. I think for such I think it's very representative of us because I'll be on stage and I'll be fucking move. And then I'll be off stage and I'm just a kind of a gentle person. So I think it's has that nice contrast as well as the band name, feminine but aggressive. The album release on Valentine's Day, feminine but aggressive. It just kind of all fits in this little package, I think.
It's a yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
This is JR, the Big Orange Tux guy, host of Superfan Diaries here on Pantheon Sports, and I am pumped about the upcoming Super Bowl rematch, aren't you? And you know what makes the big game even better? Playing along with Prize Picks, the best place for real money daily fantasy action. Check this out. Prize Picks is giving away a free square for the big game. That's right, Patrick Mahomes only needs 1 passing yard and you win. It's simple. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections and get a shot at winning up to 1,000 times your cash. I'm locking in my lineup with Saquon Barkley for more than 113.5 rushing yards and Travis Kelce for more than 62.5 receiving yards. What's your game plan? And the best part, Prize Picks puts you first. Fast, safe withdrawals. I cashed out in just 15 minutes last week. Don't sit this one out. Sign up now and use code Pantheon, PANTHEON, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, just play $5 and boom, you get $50. Download the Prize Picks app today and use Pantheon to cash in before the big game. That's code Pantheon for an instant $50 bonus. Make the big game even bigger with Prize Picks. Pick your players, lock in your lineup, and run your game. Sign up now because a Super Bowl rematch deserves Super Bowl level action.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. There's nothing better than the perfect jean and going out top combo, or an outfit that perfectly matches your plans. Abercrombie's relaxed jean goes with every occasion. Date nights with something lace, or daytime with a cozy sweater. And their barrel jean will surprise you. It's the trend that will become a staple in your wardrobe. Abercrombie denim comes in tons of rises, fits, and washes. Find your perfect pair online or in store.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Well, let's dive into some of these songs now, and we'll start with, because I am an album opener fanatic, the infectious opening track, Jumper Cables. Now, you and I talked a lot about 90s punk rock back on episode 71, and I can't help but hear that bouncy, jumpy pop punk vibe from the 90s shining through in everything from the riff to that everybody jump opening. I think you know what I'm talking about when I call it that, all the way to the sing-along / scream-along, if you will, chorus. It's the perfect opening statement. How much thought went into the track sequencing for this album? Because as someone who's been familiar with the songs, having seen you live, and as well as the singles that you've previously released, I feel like that answer might be a lot of thought, just based on how the album plays through from start to finish.
Definitely a lot of thought, but the two things that were kind of non-negotiables for me were the opening track and the ending track. Jumper Cables, I was like, if it's not first, it's not going on the record.
Really?
Yes. Just because it is so, like, and no pun intended, but it's shocking. It's less than 2 minutes. It's just very, like, ramps you up. I think coming in with just that riff in the beginning and then everything else coming in is so, like, infectious, and it pulls you in. And I think it's just, like, it's not too heavy. Really, 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 anyone who listens to the record can hear that opening song and be like, okay, maybe I could do one more.
One more? We got 13 more to go.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. Now, put your money where your mouth is and shut it. Can you talk about the story behind the lyrics in this song?
Yes. Without saying too much, we were dealing with kind of a legal thing, and it was just something so silly, and it ended up being one of those things where I had to be like, if this person is serious, then, like, why don't you, like, put your cards on the table and we'll see if you're actually serious? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and we'll see if you're serious? And when the time came, they had to shut it. They couldn't put their money where their mouth was. So, I think there's something so freeing about writing about an experience like that, and something that really kind of was affecting us as a band, and it being the opening track to our debut LP.
Well, the next track I'd like to play is the single Subaru.
Wheels on my Subaru might be giving out soon. Headed from the East Coast, thought I'd never leave
Hand Me Down, Subaru, It's Enough to Get Me Through. Now, this song actually caught the attention of Subaru in a good way. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so because it's just a fun, silly little song. And so we were like, one would be really silly is if we got Subaru to use it, which they never did use it, but we just started tagging them and everything. And all of a sudden, they commented on the YouTube video and the Instagram and the TikTok. And then they DM'd us and they were like, we would love to send you some swag. So that was really cool and really special. And would we love to collab with them? Of course. But I think just the fact that our song was able to reach those bounds was so cool.
A Subaru tour bus. There's a nice ring to that.
That's what I'm saying. a Subaru Sprinter van.
There you go. You can make it
got
work.
The money, make one, you know?
Well, the next song that we're going to talk about is the song that truly introduced me to Winona Fighter, and that song is Hams in a Glass.
Got pulled over and I'm getting closer to blowing my fucking brains out of money. Ain't it lovely to do the same old thing? I don't even know if I really even know what's going down, but do I even wanna know? Hey, who just walks away? Got a sharp and nice. I just can't play nice. I just can't play. No way, no way. No way, no way.
Now, this is a song, along with a few others on the album, that have been road tested and single tested, as Hams originally was a single back in 2023. Did the time you spent playing these songs on stage and pre-releasing the singles help shape this album as a whole in any way?
I think, like some of the newer tracks that are being released as singles recently, we were able to kind of play those on the road before we recorded them. But Hams, we wrote it and pretty much recorded it straight away. Maybe we played it for 5 shows, but nothing really changed from the demo to the recording because it's definitely a what you see is what you get song. It's fast, it's aggressive, and there wasn't much to change about it. I think if anything, we just learned that Austin cannot throw his bass in the air during the bridge if he does not have another bass on hand.
Now, speaking of that bridge, I want to play a clip of that for a second.
I'm a little stressed out, just a little stressed out. Is anybody else stressed out? I'm a little stressed out, just a little stressed out. Is anybody else stressed out?
That scream is so visceral after the spoken word build. Was that done in one take? Because you really feel that moment in the song, and it feels too, and I hate to use the word sincere because we're talking about a scream, but there's something about it that just feels like you let it all out in that moment, and that was it.
I think it was the first and only take of that scream. And it's so funny because people will be like, oh, well, that's the worst scream I've ever heard. And it's like, we're not going for like a knocked loose metal core scream. We're just going for an actual like scream.
You're letting out all your frustration at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I think it keeps the authenticity of the song. Whereas if it were a note that was held out or, some type of pig squeal or whatever, it would have just completely, I think, taken people out of the authenticity and the realness of it. And then they would have been like, oh, this is just like a picture that's being painted. Where instead it's like, here's a bunch of fucking scribbles to match exactly how the song feels.
And as you've been playing it now live over the last year and change, have you seen the callbacks from the crowd during the sing-alongs in the chorus happening?
Definitely. It's as soon as it hits that down note, I don't even have to say anything. I just like point the microphone at the crowd and everyone starts, I'm a little stressed out. You have people singing the song. You have people sweating bullets because Austin's doing his thing. And then you have people who are just prepping to hit that scream. Like they've been waiting all day to let it out.
Absolutely love it. Now, there's also a music video for this track, along with a couple others we're going to talk about a little later. But who's the person behind these music video concepts? Is it you? Is it the band? Or is there a mastermind that you go to for like your video gurus, so to speak?
We have a mastermind behind it. I would say, and I don't know, I think it's a lot because I deal with a lot of the business stuff as well as creating the music. There's no extra space in my mind for like there are a lot of artists who are really good at visuals and branding and concepts. That's not me. Just let me write the songs and let me deal with the business. And so we actually go to this company in LA, We're All Gonna Die, with Dan Masso and Jake Johnston. And they'll listen to the songs and send over a concept. And it's like, yes, if I had like thought up something in my head, this is exactly what it would have been.
Well, let's dive into another one of those music videos, as the next song we're going to play has a very memorable music video, and that is I'm in the Market to Please No One.
Jesus Christ, if one more person tells me he looks nice, I guess that I'll just stab at my own eyes if I'm deaf, dumb, and blind to it. I'm the idiot, 'cause I've been quite tired, losing sleep. I don't like to think you're having fun, I hope you suffer, and boys like you should rock for what they've done. Don't blame your mother that you're crying like a baby and pay to lie in therapy. I don't like to think you're having fun, look what you've done, look what you've done.
Now, you and I talked about this song a little bit back on episode 71, as at the time it was the band's current single. While the lyrics feel like it's coming from a place of anger, for you, it's actually more than that.
Yeah, it's a place of anger, but a place of, I think, freedom. And it's been so interesting. I wrote the song for myself and for other young women who have dealt or are dealing with domestic violence or assault. And yet there will be these big ass grown burly dudes in the audience, like scream, singing, crying it back to me. And it just made me realize that the song is so much bigger than who I intended it for. And I think that's incredibly special to like be in a situation like that for such a, I mean, I would say probably one of our most vulnerable songs.
And I will say, as a father of two girls, having songs that empower women like this is the kind of music I want them singing along with, because there are so many artists out there where the lyrics put women down or treat them as a prize or a possession. And as a father, seeing them sing out with some authority and a little bit of punch, a little bit of fight, it makes the dad in me proud to hear.
Oh, yeah. I think we need more songs where women can like speak on these issues without having to like come across as a victim or as, weak or as, I think there's something that can be really empowering about songs like In the Market. And it's definitely empowered me to be more vocal about the topic as a whole.
And the music video for this song, it really kind of takes the music and visualizes it as if it was playing out in real life as you're singing it to your therapist. Can you talk about how that concept unfolded in the music video with the team?
Yeah. So when Jake and Dan first sent over the treatment, it was this very serious video, like very, very serious. And I was like, I love everything you guys do. I was like, this is not it. We need something that matches the music, and we need something that is upbeat and uplifting. Because my view on it is, if you take a serious topic and you make a serious song and a serious video, it's going to be too heavy to talk about. So it's like, if we keep it light, it can be more of a conversation. So Austin actually brought up the idea of, well, what if there was like a therapist and then whatever, chaos unfolds. And it pretty much from there, we hired an actress to be a therapist, and we kind of played out the scenario in my mind of like when I would go to therapy for this thing and hated it. And then the next, scenes where it's me and the boys playing in the bedroom is just kind of a freeing experience. You can see we're all just like letting loose and thrashing around and letting all of that emotion out.
Singing the lyrics back and forth to each other in the video. There's definitely, like a lot of the things Winona Fighter related, a yin and a yang type flow to the concept that's unfolding.
Well, it's amazing. I'm surrounded by these two empathetic, strong guys who would fucking jump in front of a train for me. And so getting to scream this song about the complete opposite type of guy with them is awesome.
Love it. And I should probably mention that you could see all of the music videos we're talking about tonight over at the episode page at myweeklymixtape.com, or you could just search Winona Fighter on YouTube and follow them there, of course, because all the videos are up there. But while we're talking about music videos, I think we should cue up the next track to share with the listeners, and that is Attention.
Hey, you, feeding off the people. Tell me, do you even know why? Praise be your Sundays in the steeple, while everything you touch just dies. Tell me if I'm drowning right in front of your eyes. Would you see me as a daughter or another pretty penny, you fucking socialite? Give me your attention, please. Go and get on your knees. Nothing can faze me. It's all enraging. Nightmares, dead dreams. Give me your attention now. Right before I knock you out. Nothing can scare me. Cities are burning down. Attention now. Attention.
Now, taking us back to the beginning of the interview when we were talking about jumper cables and talking about the track listing here, it actually shocked me to find out that Attention wasn't the lead track on the album, because when I first heard the song, I went, there's your album opener, and I was totally wrong. It's actually track 10, which just goes to speak to how strong of a track listing this album has overall. Was that something that you guys had to really consider when you were putting this track listing together?
Yeah, I think the thing about Attention being track 10 is the track list. It's kind of the sequence of like the first three songs are more that like 90s, early 2000s pop punk. And then you have Hams, Talk, Swimmer's Ear, which are like kind of that indie punk, 90s, grungy, just thrashable. And so then it's like, Are You Famous? Another one, Attention. And those are definitely the rock side of punk rock. So the whole track list is this umbrella of punk rock. And I think the reason Attention is number 10 is because naturally that's just kind of when going across the sequence and kind of the lighter to hard, it definitely fits in that segment very well.
Now, back on the Ultimate Mixtape, which we did for episodes 100 through 102, your choice for that, spoiler alert for those who haven't listened yet, you had chose Best of You by the Foo Fighters. And when I hear Attention, after hearing what you said about Dave Grohl and your love of his music, I hear that element of the Foo Fighters. Not saying it sounds like a Foo Fighters song, but I hear that side of Winona Fighter coming out in that track. Was that something that you were looking to achieve with the song?
Definitely. Every song we do, we always pick kind of a reference track for each song. And Attention, definitely, we had a reference off of the color and the shape for it while doing it. And just based on the tones we want, how we want the vocals to come across, all of that. Yeah, I love that song. I think it took a couple people aback especially on the pop punk Reddit page. Because I think a lot of pop punkers want to claim us as that. Like, they're ours, they're a pop punk band. And then we go and release kind of a rock song, and they're like, what the hell is this? What do you think you're doing? But I think once people listen to the whole record, they'll be like, okay, I take it back. This all makes sense now.
Oh, as someone who's heard the whole record, it does make sense. And to me, when an album has that amount of diversity in it, where you can please both the pop punk fans as well as the, I don't know if you want to call it mainstream rock, but when people talk Foo Fighters, that's kind of where they land. So just for sake of argument, we'll call it mainstream hard rock sound. And there are similarities that run between the two genres, whether the purists of each side want to admit it or not. Because I hear some punk rock spirit in songs like Monkey Wrench, just like I said, I hear a little bit of Foo Fighters spirit in Attention.
Yeah, I think it's so cool to be able to touch different realms of it. And I'm happy to have a radio rock song. So I don't know.
Now, the Western concept for the music video. This looks like it had to be the most fun you guys had on set. I mean, this video is just pure fun as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God. We were cracking up. There's this one scene where we're on the hill and the camera's far away and it zooms in. And funny enough, the director is lying behind us on the slope of the hill with his phone playing the song so we can hear it. We had so many laughs that day. It's funny, we hired one of Austin's friends to play drums in the music videos because we were out, one of his friends out in LA. And the whole time I'm like, hope you're okay with a little bit of comedy. I hope you're okay with a little bit of a couple laughs. Hope you're okay with a silly goose time. And it was, I think, a couple people on set expected the fun, comedy, funny, lots of laughs. And then there were a lot of new people on set. And by the end of the day, we were all just best buddies. Because it was so funny. And you have Austin with a shotgun and Dan with his double pistols just going at it. And it was, I can't enough say how many laughs we had. It was so much fun.
Now, that was shot in LA or?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, it appears in the music video, the first time I watched it, I actually said to my wife, the abandoned gas station that you play in front of, I said, it's giving me Route 66 vibes in Arizona. And I don't know if that's what the director was going for, but I picked up on that immediately.
We were out in the desert. And so we did the Swear to God That I'm Fine, Talk, Attention, and another song, Are You Famous? We did all 4 of those within 2 days.
Wow.
Attention and Are You Famous we did in the desert. But both days, I don't know if you heard about this, but LA was having this massive heat wave in September for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those 3 days we were filming.
Oh, because of course you were.
Yeah, it was brutal, dude. We were like, oh my God.
With new McValue at McDonald's, you always get more than you expect every day. So even if gas prices go up, you can buy a double cheeseburger and add a McChicken for $1. Or before game time, you can get $5 meal deals for the group. And if breakfast is about to end, get deals in the app to save before the bell. The choice is yours, and the choice with McValue is always more.
Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Must opt into rewards for app deals.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off select styles. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Well, as we're going down this music video road, let's go with the next track, Swear to God That I'm Fine.
Can you hear me or not? I'm having second thoughts. I'm having dreams of traffic crossing roads and no one stops. I'm grateful, I swear. I'm happy to be here, but hope I die before the pretty girls. God knows I can't compare. I swear. Swear to God that I'm fine. Maybe I could feel better. Going out of my mind. Strap me into the stretcher. Why the hell do I try? Going through all the motions at the end of the line. Swear to God that I'm fine. Swear to God that I'm.
Now, this might sound like a strange question, but I want you to stick with me for a moment here. JUMPERCABLES, along with several other songs on the album, are written out in all capital letters. While other songs are written, I don't want to use the word normal, so I'll just go with AP headline style, with capital letters and lowercase for the rest of the word, the way you would see in a title. However, tracks like this use a combination of both styles. I'm just curious what you as the artist's reasoning was for mixing up capital letter songs versus quote unquote normally written songs on the album. Because when you look at the track listing, those certain spots do jump out at you.
If I'm being honest, it's really just how I heard them in my head. Like if someone said the track title, you know how some people can hear colors? I can hear capital letters. Nice. So I was like, oh, that one's all capitals. That one, some capital letters, but not all capital letters. So it was really just how I pictured them being in my head. No real rhyme or reason, but it just felt like when I listened to the song, pretty much, it's like, this is a capital letter song.
So you knew Fine was going to be in capital letters as soon as you were done writing this one.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, that song was called Locomotive at first.
Oh, really?
Yes, but once we decided it was going to be a single, our manager and the label, they were like, it might go to radio, so you might want to consider naming it a line in the song. And so someone else was like, why don't you just name it Fine? And I was like, that's too easy. So then I was like, why don't we do Swear to God That I'm, parentheses, fine.
Now, this music video concept seems to tie in with the album cover a little bit, as it's kind of seen through a child's eyes. Would you mind talking us through this video?
Yeah, so as we were talking about before with the album cover, we based this music video off of that and the whole premise of being a kid and knowing this is the only thing I want to do. I dress different. I listen to different music. I just want to play music. I don't want to be pushed to do anything else. And so we based the music video off of that. And the kid we had hired, so sweet. It's so funny. We were talking to him and we're like, is this your first music video? And he was like, no, I do a lot of music videos. And we were like, okay. But he was so funny. And yeah, at the last scene, the director was like, okay, just throw the papers and just dance, dance, dance. And so we did a couple takes of that and he killed it. He asked if he could floss dance. I said, please don't do that. And he didn't. And
the look of joy on his face during the end of that video takes this video that for the most part is very serious. And again, like we keep mentioning, it's that yin and yang. It brings this jubilation at the end and this celebration to the end of the song. When he throws those papers up, I'm like, man, that looks like fun. I want to do that.
We had to pick up the papers quite a few times. But no, he was so enjoying himself. And it took him a second to loosen up for the end scene. And we were like, this is just fun. Be a kid and have fun. Because you are a kid and you should be having fun. You know, I can imagine being like a kid actor stressful sometimes. So it's just like, your job is to be a kid.
And I love the tattoo sleeves.
Yes.
Part of me was like, if they had actually put henna or colored tattoos on his arm, I feel like seeing the shirt with the sleeves made it feel like this is a kid that wants to go down the punk rock road, but is still kind of learning along the way. I don't know if it was that nuanced, but in the video, that certainly comes across to me.
No, yeah, I agree. I think the tattoo sleeves, like actual sleeves, were, I think, the best choice we could have made. And yeah, he was great. He really was. And he didn't have to go to school afterwards. So he kept his eyeliner on. So maybe we changed him a little bit.
He's going to go home. His mom's going to be like, wait a minute. You're wearing that tattoo sleeve shirt every day now. What's going on here? Now for the song, that's one that's been out all of 2024 as well as in 2025 leading up to the album. When I saw you at the Starland Ballroom with Finch and Bayside, the band was only given 20 minutes. But as you guys have played more shows leading up to this album being released, have you road tested some of the new material that maybe people haven't heard, at least in video or single form yet?
It's tough. You know, we didn't really get much of a chance to play anything new for most of 2024. Because the Bayside tour, we had a 20-minute set. So we just played what we had. And, you know, festivals, we have 30 minutes. So if we can throw an extra song in, we usually do a cover. However, it's funny. We played a show in Boston and we played Jumper Cables. And that was in March. And then we played Indianapolis in July. And someone's like, play Jumper Cables. And we're like, what do you mean play? We've only played it for one audience ever. And I don't know, I think someone leaked a video of it on Reddit, but it was just so bizarre. So we were like, okay, we'll play Jumper Cables. But I think since it's new, that's why they were like, oh, like, I love this one. But I think there are a lot of new songs on the record that I think people are going to find their kind of which new one they really like and are really obsessed with. But yeah, I mean, the sequence is in a way that of course, we're catering to our OG fans, but the album set sequence is created for people who are listening to us for the very first time. So you'll see that it's Jumper Cables and then a bunch of songs that have already been out. But it's because we wanted to put it together for new ears. And the hope is that the album reaches a lot of new ears. And the first few songs are just kind of nostalgic and fun for the OG fans.
Now, does the wide spectrum of genres that you cover on the album, the pop punk, the modern rock, when that all comes together, does that color how you guys pick a set list for when you're playing live, depending on what the festival or tour you're on has to offer?
I think one thing people admire about us is we don't follow a status quo. So I think we'll just kind of do our thing no matter what. I mean, we just did Aftershock and Louder Than Life, and we were definitely the fish out of water, but we played our normal set. And I think the thing that helps us is the set is so raw and so real and punk. It's a punk show that it doesn't matter if we're playing our more pop punk stuff or our more hard rock stuff. It's the same vibe and the same energy like the whole way through.
And which show was it that had the girl pit?
Aftershock. Oh, that was amazing.
Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, we played Aftershock. Another scenario where we sound checked. There were maybe like 10 people and we were like, okay, let's just see what happens. And then we got on stage and it's just a sea of people. And yeah, we started playing in the market and the girl pit opened up and it made me emotional. It was the coolest thing to see. And you could see girls like from the back of the crowd get the courage to come into the mosh pit because they were like, oh, that's something safe for me. And the men were being so respectful. And it was the coolest thing ever. I loved Aftershock. I did take a hard tumble on the last song.
I saw that. That looked, not gonna lie, kind of painful.
It was like one of those where I hit the ground so hard I bounced back up.
Oof.
So I didn't like notice at first, but everyone, like, I got off stage and everyone was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, why is everyone asking if I'm okay?" And they were like, "The stage shook. You hit the ground so hard." So just a couple bruises the next day, but
Worth
no big
it,
deal.
right?
Worth it. I went to Napa the next day, so I just kind of, nothing Napa can't fix.
I was gonna say, who needs Advil, right?
Yeah.
Well, for the last song clip of the night, since we talked about the album opener, we should probably dive into the album closer as well, that being the soaring Don't Wallow.
Feeling like a loser, sinking in the couch. The smoke is clear, the rain's gone. I'm still in the house. Dollars turn to pennies. Pennies don't pay bills. My hair's done up in mats. I'll break my back like no one ever will. I take it all in stride. Been waiting all this time. I think I'm going for a ride. I'm swallowing my pride. It's going down like knives. Go swallow it, don't wallow.
Come a little closer, listen to these songs. There's no other plan for me. I've made my peace with God. If you had to sum up all that you've learned from the first note that you laid down on My Apologies to the Chef to this very moment right now that the album's being officially released, what would that lesson be for you?
Well, I literally just got goosebumps when you read that lyric back to me. No one's ever like read that. And I was like, oh shit, I wrote that?
Well, those were the lyrics that made the hair on my arm stand up the first time I heard the track, so I went with it.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned, but I think the most important one is just staying grounded and keep on doing our thing. Because that's how we got here. That's how we created the album, by just doing our thing. We signed to our dream label by just doing our thing. We do all these festivals because we just do our thing, and we stay grounded and we stay humble and we stay uncomfortable. And I don't think that's ever going to change. And so doing the record was very humbling, especially doing it right off of tour. But it was special. It was just me, Austin, and Dan the whole time. And that's a very, very grounding experience. Our biggest release to date, and we just did it ourselves.
Do you feel like that's a message to some of these younger punk bands to be able to go out there and just grind and do it yourself? Because really, at the end of the day, the Blink-182 and Green Days are not the norm. They are kind of the outliers. And the punk scene is so much bigger than that. And I feel like there's a message there.
Yeah, I think, and I can't just credit ourselves on this. I got to shout out bands like Knocked Loose and Mannequin Pussy. And, I think the goal for everyone who tours and releases records, or most everyone, is how can I do this and make a living, and hey, maybe one day have a dream house. And I think that's a very hard goal to foresee when you're doing something, a genre that's so niche. And not only you're doing a niche genre, but you're kind of stepping out of the bounds. You can call us pop punk, you can call us punk rock, but whatever you call us, we are so far outside of the boundary of what that is. And those bands are too, but they're making mainstream success out of it. And it's because they did their thing, they kicked ass, they were kind along the way, and they didn't let, I think bands like us are more susceptible to hate. I think we are more susceptible to critics, and you can't let that get in the way. You can't post a video of you crying on the internet because it gets hard. You got to just kind of like keep pushing and know that you are the best in the room and get in the van and go tour, make it happen. I mean, I meet with like a lot of new artists who move to Nashville. Like they'll DM and they'll be like, hey, can we grab coffee? Because I never had someone kind of showing me the way or like offering advice. So I'm like, yeah, like, let's go. And the main thing, I'm just like, make it happen for yourself. Play as many shows as possible. It doesn't matter. Go, if you're playing to 0 people, just go like play. So yeah, I think that's, and I know I went off on a complete tangent, but it's yes, doing it yourself and making it happen and listening to your gut and trusting that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And for me, what I think about Winona Fighter, I think about authenticity. There's something about these songs that just feels real. It feels like it comes from an honest place. And in a world where a lot of artists that you discover on Spotify or that get pushed to you through the algorithm almost feel like they're coming from an inauthentic place. So I think that's a reason why I admire Winona Fighter's music so much, is that honesty.
Thank you. Yeah, I can agree. I think there's like a lot of inauthenticity out there and just a lot of people who are like, okay, well, how can I make it to the top the quickest? And it's like, man, why do you want to do that when you could work your ass off and do what you want and still maybe make it to the top? I mean, what do they say? There's a 1% chance it'll work. And every day we're inching closer to that 1%, and it's very exciting. But, you know, we're not just going to do a 180 and start pumping out generic pop punk songs or, you know, whatever, just to get there quicker. And we have our moments. I mean, the other night I'm like, oh, I just like really want this to work. And Austin was like, it is working. He's like, shut up. It is working. I was like, yeah, but like, I didn't really want it to work.
I understand that concept because at least here with the Show Walla podcast is a different creative outlet. You put out an album that is real and authentic, and each week I attempt my hardest to do that with this show and try to put out something that shows my love of music in a real way. And when I hear bands doing that, it's hard not to get behind them and support them like I am with this album.
Well, I think, you know, like our record's similar to how your podcast works is I think people love a conversation, like a real conversation. And my apologies to the chef feels like a real conversation that you're having with someone. You know, we're like a super private band. I know there are a lot of artists out there who post everything on social media, which is, you know, that's what you want to do. Cool. Not us. We like to post out music, and I think it allows us to have a deeper connection with our fans. So when we do release vulnerable songs, or when we do get a chance to have like a one-on-one conversation with people, it's like it creates this, I think, deeper level of communication and a deeper relationship.
When your makeup's so loud, you can literally hear it. That's NYX Professional Makeup. To capture that sound, NYX has spotlit 5 rising female artists, collaborating with each one to create music for the debut Mixtape, an album inspired by the latest NYX Professional Makeup drop. Mixtape, the sound of NYX Professional Makeup. It's makeup so loud you can hear it. Listen now on Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Welcome to the White Lotus in Thailand Cup. It's a wellness center. You should get a facial. The lady in the airport thought you were my dad.
Oh my God.
The Emmy Award-winning HBO original series returns.
There has been more crime on the island.
I'm a little freaked out. What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand. Oh, what does that mean? It means we're not dead yet.
Amen.
Amen.
A new season of the HBO original series The White Lotus premieres February 16th at 9 p.m. on Max.
So the new album is out. What does 2025 have in store for Winona Fighter in terms of touring and supporting My Apologies to the Chef?
We are doing our first Big Daddy headlining tour, the Yes Chef Tour, starting in February, and it goes until March. And that will be the first leg. There will be more legs. I can assure everyone of that. We have some really exciting festivals booked. We have Innings Fest in Tempe, Arizona. We are doing Warped Tour in Orlando, Florida, which is so exciting. Kind of a shock to us, honestly, because I was still like a super young teenager, tween, when Warped Tour ended. So it's so cool to be able to be a part of it now.
Well, this is the future generation of what Warped Tour is all about.
Exactly. We're going to do Slam Dunk Festival in the UK, and we're doing one more show while we're over there. I don't know if that gets announced, so I'm not going to say anything about it. Yeah, and just, we would love to do a supporting slot on a tour, maybe in the fall, reach a new audience. If not, we're just going to keep playing festivals until our little fingers give out. It's so cool I think we're considered a festival band. And not only that, a mainstream festival band, which has been really cool. And yeah, then hopefully, the success of this record will allow us to write another one.
My Apologies to the Chef, available on vinyl, CD, thank you very much from a CD fanatic, and available on streaming, which I will embed the album over on the episode page at myweeklymixtape.com. Coco, thank you so much for joining me on the show, and I look forward to catching Winona Fighter the next time the band rips through New Jersey.
Thank you so much.
And remember, you can find My Weekly Mixtape on almost all the social media haunts at My Weekly Mixtape. You can also head to myweeklymixtape.com to check out the full catalog of My Weekly Mixtape episodes. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. There you can enjoy ad-free episodes of the show, chime in on upcoming episode topics, become a future guest, and so much more. That's all for this week. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, enjoy the tunes.